How's it going, folks? Raymond here with Auditing for Accountability NL. I just spent 2 hours, roughly, hour and a half, up to the RNC headquarters. Had an interaction. I'll post that video probably tomorrow. The reason I'm doing this video is because I guess it's been suggested to me, asked of me, probably told to me that I potentially should do a video explaining why I do what I'm doing, why I'm out here recording public officials and holding them accountable. So here we go. I'm 37. I've had a long, arduous life. I spent 30 years almost, severe addictions, youth custody, adult, both provincially and federally. I've done some community programs, whatnot. In the last 3 years, things have changed for me. I've gotten sober, completely sober. I don't smoke weed no more. I don't drink. I haven't drank in 6 years. My biggest crutch was oxys, Valium, downers. I haven't touched any of that in over 2 years. Completely sober, documented, and proven. I haven't picked up any new charges. I don't even jaywalk no more, as you can see. So I've been taking steps to change my life, to do things differently, to do them better. So since I've made that change, and since COVID hit, after we got off our first lockdown here in Newfoundland, St. John's, I had a civil hearing to go to. Went to it. It was up at Supreme Court on Duckwood Street here in Newfoundland. So I went to my hearing. On the way out, I tried to pull a little fast one. Tried to get the person that sued me. Tried to get them to leave, so then I would leave after. Didn't want to have the interaction. Didn't want to have the argument, and possibly get charged myself. So I asked the sheriff. Here we have sheriffs, and they're not cops. They're just people that escort people back and forth to jail and courts and whatnot. So, so I asked the sheriff if I could just take my time, let her leave, and we'd be done. Nope, can't do it. COVID-19, we're not allowed to keep anybody in the building. Very good. I said, well, all I'll do is I'll go out on the front step, out on the public sidewalk. Standard. There's 3 or 4 cameras on the front of the building. If she decided to get on with crap or anything like that and decided to accuse me of something, it would be on camera. Excuse me. So I stayed there. I just waited. 10 minutes later goes by. I notice she's nowhere to be seen. She didn't exit the building. I look in through the doors and she's sitting down. So why was I not allowed to stay in there for what I said was my safety? Let her go on so I don't get into an argument and whatever. But she was allowed to. So I went in and asked the 3 sheriff's officers that were there if they had business cards so I could file a formal complaint. I believed it was biased against me, because they know who I am, obviously. No, we don't get business cards. So I was like, okay, can I get your names? Can you read them? Whatever. So I goes outside, stands up on the sidewalk. I wasn't recording at the time. I didn't do this stuff at the time. Not that I didn't see a point. It was just something I didn't do. Watched it all the time. Loved watching the videos. Still do. Didn't do it. But I stayed there because I knew I was on camera. I knew that they were going to see if anything happened. If I did something. I didn't care if she did something. I wanted to make sure I didn't be accused of doing something that I didn't do. So, stood there. The officers were getting a little bit mouthy with me, so I told them to go fuck themselves. Excuse my language, but basically, told them whatever. Next thing I know, a sheriff's officer comes out. We just got off our first lockdown. We still had a public health order that masks had to be on if you couldn't keep 6 feet. Keep 6 feet, blah, 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 blah. The sheriff's officer come flying out through the door, come right down the steps, removed his mask, pulled it down over under his chin, and got nose to nose to me and said, if you don't get the F out of here, I'm calling the police. I'm going to have you arrested for whatever, he says. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't worried. So I tried to file a formal complaint. Initially, they said they were going to look into it. 6 weeks later, no information. Then I get an email like a few months later stating that the investigation was complete. The Department of Justice now has it, and they take that crap very seriously. I wasn't made aware of whether he breached any policies, even though I got the policies after through the ATIP request. They didn't say whether or not, and I'm not entitled to know whether or not there was punishments for his actions. So what happened then was I let it go for a little while. Complaints were still in. Then I went to the police. I said, fuck it. They would have, sorry, again, my language. They would have charged me if I'd done that. Let's try it. The police did their investigation. I think it was around New Year's, actually. So this happened September 18, October, November, December. 3 months later, the police are starting to investigate. They ask what happened, speaks to his buddies, other sheriff's officers, and viewed the video. The video shows said deputy sheriff coming out doing what he did, but they can't charge him with assault because the camera don't show him his nose touching mine. Though the officer said it's evident in the video that the sheriff's officer is the one that initiated the aggression. So, that should be enough, right? So no. So I filed a complaint with a superintendent with our RNC to have the complaint looked into. I mean, if I did it, I would have been charged, right? So I let them figure they were going to handle it. It's been another 5 months, something like that, and still nothing. Still no investigation complete, still nothing. I requested through ATIP the videos from Supreme Court. I was denied, so I had to go through. I asked the sheriff's office for them. I was denied. I had to go through the ATIP process. Did so. They tried to say no. Had to get the Office of the Privacy Commissioner involved so that they could look into the matter. They looked into it, and they had no right to refuse me those videos, except for one. I should have asked for that anyway, but that's fine. They had no right to refuse those videos of me. So they were ordered. I say ordered. It's a recommendation from the Office of the Privacy Commissioner to release 4 videos with redactions of faces, and I don't understand. They're blocking the sheriff's officers' faces because the uniform will identify them as a public servant. So again, that goes against my reasoning for wanting those videos. I wanted to show the people what sheriff's officer is doing this to the public. I got his picture, so I'm going to include that with the video when I do get it. They were given 20 days. They were given, when the recommendations are made, they have 10 days to respond, which is either say yes or say no. If they say no, then the OIPC will then take that to Supreme Court and get an injunction or an order, basically, and then they're made to release those videos. 10 days went by, no email, no response. So it's an automatic acceptance of the recommendations. Day 11, we get an email stating that they're going to accept the recommendations based on the fact they can redact the faces. They don't have the equipment, and due to them not having the equipment to redact it, they're having trouble. So 20 days went by. I asked for my videos. 22 days later, I guess, an email stating that they're having issues redacting the software or the faces, and I'll be kept up to date weekly. So I asked the YPC, you know, don't your recommendations mean something? Like, they've accepted it. If this was me and I accepted a recommendation and I didn't provide it in the 20 days, you'd be going to court, getting an injunction and whatnot. So, no answer, no response. They claim they've been being very diligent and, trying to work on my behalf. So this is week 3, I believe. 3 weeks after the fact, after the 20 days. So now it's been 41 days since they were supposed to provide me with the videos. No videos, no updates, besides like one, and I had to reach out for that. Now, when I reach out to the office of the high sheriff to make a complaint, and I can show if I was able to, that they don't even, they screen my calls. I can call. For the last 3 weeks I've been trying to call and complain. Independent journalists, I'm being denied access to hearings. I'm watching other media go through. Apparently our office of the high sheriff do not recognize independent journalists. How do you not recognize it? It's in our Charter of Rights to be, right? So, but they don't recognize it. So I'm not entitled to go in and report on a case. So essentially, I'm going through a process in the court right now. I screwed up a couple of years ago while addicted, and the number of charges. So since then, I've changed many things. I no longer do the shit. So I no longer do anything. Geez, I can't remember what I was gonna say. But so anyway, going through that process, 18 months of it now. I'm almost graduating from it, doing really well. So anyway, the sheriffs, instead of taking it as it was, just accepting, accepting the fact that, they're being recorded, they went to the judge that oversees the hearings that I go to, and essentially the judge said he didn't want to hear the merits of why I'm recording, and that if I don't stop recording, that I'm going to be kicked out of the program that I'm in. At that stage, this was a couple months ago, at that stage, it would have been detrimental to my health. I would have went back to using, probably would have went back to crime, and that's not what I want to do, right? So, I let it go. If I had, and I looked into filing a formal complaint or suit the judge, but if I had done that, I'd be kicked out of the program, put in jail, and then I'm back to square one, right? I got a 5-year-old daughter at home, common law wife. It is what it is, right? My greatest support's my everything, man. I got 2 other kids that mean the world to me. I haven't seen them in a long time because of what I've done, and I understand it sucks, but it's life. Maybe a couple of years things can change, but right now, if I was to go down to our provincial court and stand there with a camera and record, I'm going to get in trouble. So I'm doing all this recording because of that one initial situation with the sheriff's office getting in my face. From that, I've had other sheriff's officers treat me like crap, trying to intimidate, harass, whatnot. I'm not easily intimidated, harassed, so it is what it is. And but I'm recording it. Then I get the judge to do that. So I got the audio disc. I paid my money, got it. So that'll go to record. I am going to sue for that. I'm not stopping on the officer getting held accountable, the sheriff's officer being held accountable for what he done. Like I said to anybody, if I were to do that to somebody, I would be charged with a criminal offense. So, you know, and then on top of that, due to my past with some police officers, some of them know me, some of them treat me with respect, some of them are total douches. As I say to everybody, I'm not here to make them look bad. I'm not here to make them look good. I'm here to document the process or the interaction, and it's up to them how I'm going to respond. It's up to them how they treat me. It's up to them whether they get respect from me or not. So, I mean, as you guys seen multiple videos from me, you know, none of your business. If you're not here to file a complaint, you don't need to be on our property, right? You know, and then not deceiving that Officer Sean and his wife. But we need to stop this. We need our officers to understand that it's perfectly legal to report. They know that. The sergeant just said so. And to have respect for the people. I mean, it's written in their policies. So, you know, I could probably elaborate a little bit more on what and why I do what I do. I'm not going to. I'm sure you guys get the gist of it. I appreciate, sincerely appreciate everybody that subscribes, everybody that likes, comments, suggestions. You want to tell me off, go mad? That's fine, I understand. But just know that I'm doing this so that we can hold these officers accountable. So that in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, 20 years' time, when my child is grown and she possibly has children, that they can know when they're walking down the road or they had an interaction with our police or whatever it is, that we're going to have a good interaction. We're going to have a good life. We're not going to be harassed. We're not going to be treated like shit. We're not going to be, you know, belittled and whatnot. We're, you know, that's it. And that's the goal here. So, I think I got about another month to go, and then I'll be doing a lot more videoing, I guess, at the courthouses and whatnot. You know, these videos at the police station at night aren't really getting a lot of content for you guys. And again, I'm not trying to get them to, you know, freak out or anything. I don't want that. I want respect. I want whatever. So if by doing it that way is the way it's got to be, so be it. But I want to know that when my daughter grows up and she has her own family, that she's going to be able to live and not be in fear. And that's where this comes from. So again, folks, I'm going to end this video in about 30 seconds. But I sincerely appreciate everybody that watches, listens to me. You know, this video is probably really boring to a lot of you. Really boring for me to put off. But, you know, you just get a little bit of an idea of why I do it. Feel free to post any questions. If I can answer them for you, I certainly will. If I can't, then I'll find some way to get you an answer to your question. So, again, guys, girls, folks, these days, we's, whatever we call it, everybody, I sincerely appreciate what you do, watching my videos, support.